njogera Olufalansa n'Abaganda.
Yamo Français nako.
Emeramo Français.
French language in Uganda.
Hello everyone, welcome to our podcast about the FEF project. My name is Ilaf and today we're having two visitors with us. I will let them introduce themselves.
Okay, so hello everyone. So I'm Julius Baluku, a teacher of French, and I'm glad to be here for this podcast. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Agatha Tumwine Magezi. I'm the president of the Association of Teachers of French in Uganda, and I'm a lecturer of French at the Department of European and Oriental Languages, Makerere University. Glad to be here.
What is your role within the FEF project and with APFO?
As a president of the association, I was definitely involved in right from the inception of the project design, writing it up to the end, implementation and everything. So I'm the lead person of the FEF project, Team France, for Equipe France. So I was involved in each and every activity, each and every action, and I was responsible for the reporting and everything. So I was part of the whole project from inception to the end.
As Deputy Secretary General of the association, we would have meetings, and so that's how I came to be involved in this project. Through Dr. Agatha as our president, we would have meetings, so I got involved from the beginning and then up to some point where we had implementation, like the camps, the training of teachers of French. Yeah, so that's how I came in also in this project.
Looking back to the launch of the project, what memory comes to mind first?
Go first.
This project has really come a long way, and thanks to Dr. Agatha, who really always gave us the energy to, work hard. So the memories I have are, for example, for CALUFU. Recently, I participated in the CALUFU camp in Jinja, but also in the planning meetings of the camp that was held in St. Maria Goretti in Katende in PG. So the memories that come are these, when students are having fun, like whenever we have activities, doing fashion show, trying to make sure that they express themselves with a lot of passion. So a lot of memories for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Looking back at the FEF project, the memories are just beautiful. Right from the inception, from the launch in 2024, the first trainings at MOOPS, at Alliance Française, but again, the most memorable event for me was the Congrès, the teachers' conference at MOOPS. That was really beautiful. We hosted more than 350 teachers from all over Africa and beyond, and at MOOPS, and together with the Professor Milburger, organizing that international event and making it a success was really something that we had to learn from. It was interesting, but it's so memorable up to now. The participants also still talk about it. We're still in touch. Very beautiful memories.
Okay, Madam President, which role has APFO played in implementing the CALUFU in the project FEF?
So, CALUFU, as we call it, Camp Ludique Francophile Uganda. CALUFU is an acronym. This is one of the activities that we designed as we are planning and applying for this project. We are looking at having learners of French from different schools coming together for a week, practicing different activities, pedagogical and cultural activities in French, but also sensitizing them to giving them information about the importance of French and what career, how it facilitates career and employability. So CALUFU, these are French holiday camps. In English, we just say French holiday camps, CALUFU, which we organize for secondary school learners. They come together, we do everything, right from sports, cooking sessions, singing, music, fashion and design, the spiritual activities, mass and service, everything in French. And we've organized so far more than 6 CALUFUs. And we feel it is something that is really very important for this project. For us, it has been a great success. We've been able to reach, if I can be specific, actually about 1,480 learners of French.
As the president of APFO, how have you seen the partner between Alliance Française, APFO, and the French Embassy evolve since the start of the project?
I can trace back right from the time we wrote this project. These three institutions, we worked together in partnership, right from the weekly meetings we used to have to write the project, French Embassy, Alliance Française, and APFO, all through the implementation of the activities, the different activities we work together. Every activity that Alliance was maybe implementing, they invited APFO. APFO invited Alliance and the Embassy. Actually, I can say that the partnership has been great. And we've been having quarterly evaluation meetings. So that one also further, enhanced the relationship and the partnership between these three institutions, and showing that we are all working for a common cause to making Ugandans, especially learners of French, better and for their future anyway.
What concrete change have you observed among teachers in the schools since the project began?
One like this. There are so many, but since you're asking for one, when you look at the project objectives and the indicators, the performance indicators, one of the things, when this project we were starting it, we were looking at the number of learners of French dwindling every other day because of the misunderstanding of the lower secondary curriculum, whereby some schools thought that they are supposed to remove some subjects, and French was one of the most hit subjects. So we were looking, by then there were so many schools which were dropping French, But if I can take your question, which results should I consider as the most impactful for me? In the project, we said, if by the end of the FEF project, at least we should have 5 schools, either which have introduced French or which have reintroduced, meaning they were teaching French before and they had dropped. But as I talk, as of today, when you take schools, new schools that have introduced French and schools that reintroduced, then the total, as of today, there are 22 schools. Wow. And yet our target was 5. That is an impactful result because we see, we are always in the media, we are talking about the importance of learning an international language in the East African context. And people listen, people see, and they know. So we are glad that many schools are opening up doors for French to make sure that the learners start learning this language at an early stage. Yeah.
Having followed the CALUFU camps closely in the ground, what has struck you about the young beginners, young participants?
Okay, so thank you for that wonderful question. I think what has struck me so much is the kind of performance and attitude towards French for the young learners who participate. Because like Doctor has said, the passion has grown further. I was in Jinja, I would see the way learners would, express themselves. If you tell them, we are not going to do this activity, they will tell you, please, let's do it. You'd see that they really love what they are doing. But also, there is that kind of continuity. Like Doctor has said, we still keep in touch with these students and they keep saying, when is CALUFU again? Sometimes Doctor does visits in schools, and when she starts talking about CALUFU, they are like, when are we having the next CALUFU? So that has struck my mind a little bit. I always look at it as, something that CALUFU and the FEF project as something that has really increased the motivation for the learners, especially the fact that what they do during CALUFU motivates them, the cooking, the fashion and design, and the different activities, music, dance, drama, theater. So all these activities, sometimes they even say we should have more days. So that keeps us, motivated also.
The 2026 edition marked the expansion of CALUFU to the Eastern region, in Jinja. What does that means to the project or to the program?
Thank you. So Jinja in particular is a region where initially, before this project, okay, Jinja as a region has had French, but there was a time when it was lagging behind, with a few schools still holding on, like Mwiri, like Wanyange Girls. So when the camp was extended to Jinja, this was 2026 was their first edition, and I participated. We had engagements with the stakeholders, like the DEO assured us that he's going to remobilize the different schools that had dropped French. So for us, the extension is really worth it, and it has awakened other schools. Wairaka that hosted us promised that they will continue doing French and the rest of the schools in the region. So this expansion is really something that is going to reawaken French in the region, but also the learners to be able to meet, interact, and network with their fellow students in other schools.
Which activities had the greatest impact?
Thank you. If I may talk about these activities that students mostly liked or welcomed, almost all activities, but there, of course, there are those where you see that students are really giving it all. But almost all the activities, you would see that students are motivated, they will not sleep, they will not ask not to do it. So for example, there is fashion and design. Students looked for so many things to do, putting on different fashions, and it was interesting. And then there are other activities like cooking. They were cooking and they were happy. They would do things and you would wonder how they are even arriving to that. Then theater, they would do theater. You'd see them acting and you'd feel like we should go to the National Theatre and perform for everyone. They would do things that we would really not even expect. So almost all the activities were attractive. They were worth it. Music, dance, original compositions, service, you'd see them sing, dance in French. So almost all the activities, but fashion and design, theater, cooking, these were outstanding activities.
How have teachers trained under FEF integrated those new practices as digital tools, curriculum in their classrooms?
Okay, so thank you for this wonderful question. And Doctor is here, maybe she will add on something small because we closely worked on that. We did the sessions of trainings in the different regions and the feedback is very overwhelming. Doctor can testify. The teachers who probably could not use some of these digital tools, AI, before, after these trainings, they started liking them, they started embracing them, using them in class. You'd find that a teacher would tell you, I can now generate a lesson plan using AI like ChatGPT. I can now generate photos using Gemini AI, for example. And we collaborated together with the doctor and the rest of the colleagues that were training. So the feedback from the teachers on using these tools is really encouraging. It shows that they were able to benefit from the trainings.
Yeah, even as part of the FEF project, remember we had a component of recording and writing contextualized materials, audiovisual materials. And you see, you wake up and you find in the group that just said, yes, whoever came up with this idea, and they are using the same videos in class, and it was really amazing. Meaning they have to, the audiovisual, of course, they already, you're working with competence-based, so they have to look for all the ways possible. And those are teaching and learning materials at their disposal, which are audiovisual, and we feel there is, those who are ready to use them, and we've seen testimonies who said, now I have my content ready. Yeah.
In fact, thank you, Doctor. If I may also maybe add on. In fact, there was when we had the Francophonie at Makerere University, and teachers came with students, but having used AI tools, digital tools to generate songs, to generate different activities, and they were performing them. They looked authentic. They looked very interesting. Like there's a school which performed a song. Ndeje also performed a song which they had created using Suno AI, because we had trained that during the training, and the teachers went and introduced such to their learners. So it is really amazing. Teachers are using the tools, and we are happy thanks to the project.
And we encourage those who have not embraced the use of these tools, the teachers out there, members of APFO, please make use of these materials, audiovisual, to make your lessons more interesting and interactive. Yeah.
What, in your view, is the most visible impact of FEF on the place of the French language in Uganda today?
Most visible, the keyword is visible. The visible is CALUFU, because that's about visibility. And why CALUFU? Because we've been able to engage all learners countrywide. We've had CALUFU in the Western, in West Nile, in Eastern, in Northern, in Central, and wherever we are, of course, the media. Thanks to the media, we always have media coverage. They come, then journalists come around, and it is visible. And I also see the number, some schools, where schools that have participated in CALUFU, teachers testify of the number of students offering French, improving. Also, some schools which were just making French as an optional subject. We know schools that have now made French compulsory for senior 1 and 2. So that by senior 3, when you're making choices, you know what you're choosing. Not just having learners who come in senior 1 and they choose. So the visible, impactful activity in this FEF for APFO, CALUFU, because CALUFU is here to stay. Yeah.
Were there any challenges along the way that you would like to share?
Some schools, some regions, they were really further apart from each other. Like when you say West Nile as a region, and when we had, let's say, CALUFU in Arua, and you have to bring learners from Zombo, it is very far. So it was a challenge, especially, and that like geographical distance. We saw the same challenge when we had the CALUFU North, when we had it in Soroti. Some learners were coming from as far as Lila, as Gulu. So it wasn't as easy, especially transporting them and making sure that everything goes in time. Of course, the challenges, especially people who confirm at the last minute their attendance. The same thing as Francophonie was one of the activities of FEF. When we organized the Francophonie for Kampala and Mukono regions recently, this year in March at Makerere University, the confirmation didn't come in time. So where you expected 700 students, there were 1,600, and the space was not enough. I'm just giving an example. So those are some of the challenges, but they were managed. Yeah, in some cases where we expected CALUFU participants, because in the project we had said at least we should have 300 participants. In some cases, we would not make the target numbers that we had wanted. Yeah, so and like even the very first CALUFU we had of Central Region of Mukono at Seta High School, where our target was 300, we had about 400. So you can imagine, but you've planned for 300, now you have 400. Those are some of the things we had, but we managed, yeah. And of course, teachers and as the leadership of CALUFU, other than being leaders of APFO as an association, we also have other responsibilities. You are a teacher, you have your job, you also have to make sure you protect it, so you cannot be in APFO all the time. So you have these competing, how do I call them, other duties. You are in APFO, you need to do this, but at the same time you have to be at your place of work. So you find that sometimes some teachers are not so flexible to attend all the activities as planned. Yeah, and also specifically the training of teachers we had in January for Central Region, because it happened right after the elections. national elections, presidential and parliamentary elections. So some people were skeptical, are we going to be okay? So they couldn't travel to Masaka. The brave ones had to come. We had registered more than 100 people, but finally about 60 people turned up. But the major reason we could see that because people are not, they got scared of traveling. Yeah.
What has CALUFU changed in the way young Ugandans sees the French language learning?
I think the young Ugandans now look at French as a living language, a language which is here, which is used in daily life, and the context that CALUFU has brought has helped them to appreciate it more, know that yes, a Ugandan like me can speak French, a teacher and people we always with, we can all speak language, use it in daily life and so on. So this is one of the things that we have started seeing, that the learners now feel the language is here. It is no longer a language of France or a foreign language, but their own language.
Much as CALUFU was intentionally designed for secondary schools, but also we saw our university students, future teachers of French, participating and benefiting with that experience and exposure in CALUFU. We really believe if we met them, they would testify how it has been helpful for them, getting that experience as the animateur, animatrice. So we see that they also benefited from it, that practice, which some of us never got when we were students at university, as the future teachers of French, of course. So when you see, I think you saw this week, when the first cohort of Ugandan teachers who are going to teach English in France, the teachers of French, assistant de langue, all of them have been involved in the FEF activities. They will tell you they have attended all the CALUFU. Those who have not attended the CALUFU, they have been the training of the teachers. So there's also that kind of training that they got even before coming out of university. So it benefited many. Yeah.
As the project FEF comes to an end, how do you envision the sustainability of CALUFU in teacher training gain beyond the project?
So, FEF was, of course, a 2-year project and is ending. The sustainability, right from the project design, we had put the sustainability plan, that the teachers who are trained are supposed to go back to the regions and train others. And the structure of APFO, Association of Teachers of French in Uganda, is in such a way that we are in regions. So it is very possible that the regional coordinator or representative regional, that we call them, to organize and have these, I want to call them refresher sessions, continuous at regional level. That is for the training of teachers, but also some of them maybe we can have regional, then we're going to be having others which are national, but mainly online because of the funds, of course. But for CALUFU, and that's the same question they asked when we were doing the project, design. How are you going to make sure that this project is sustainable even beyond the FEF project? And the answer was CALUFU. Actually, CALUFU was designed following a previous similar camp we used to call it CAVIF, Cadre de Vie en Français. For it, the difference was we were always in Jinja, on the shores of River Nile in the open. So CALUFU were basing on the experience of CAVIF. CAVIF was first sponsored by Fédération Internationale des Professeurs de Français, the very first version. Then the following years, we requested students, participants to contribute, parents contribute. Of course, it is hard. It is not as when you have a funding, but it is feasible. And we believe then CALUFU, with the learners, contributing, it is the same. And that's why we said right from the beginning, learners have to contribute something, because it wasn't enough, especially for the CALUFU, for the logistics. In the project, we had said they all have to always contribute. You cannot bring more than 300 people to feed them for the whole week, 5 days. Actually, initially it was 7 days. We realized it is not possible. So they would contribute towards especially the food. And we are doing this. We are going for the same model. For instance, in August, the Western region, they have already organized a 3rd edition of CALUFU. Even when the FEF was ongoing, there were other editions. Central, they already had their 3rd edition in May. So Western, they're also going to have their 3rd edition, and they are paying. And yeah, you can't have that, it can't be as smooth, but it will happen. It has to happen whatsoever. And yeah, make sure that they are sustainable. Maybe even if it is not going to be regional the way we did under the FEF, we can still make sure that we have one national CALUFU that is rotational. If this year we have it in Central, next year we go to East. So just one that is national. So whoever wants to attend can travel to wherever the CALUFU will be.
Then if I can add something small, as part of the plan to make sure they continue, Dr. Agatha and the team have constituted a separate leadership for the camps. So we have presidents of each region, like Western region, we have Mr. Bienvenu Aliganyira. In the Central, we have Mr. J.B. Kwizera. So the different regions have a small leadership that continues with the activities. Even beyond the FEF project, they still make sure they organize meetings and ensure that the camps do not stop at the project.
Yeah, and the different regions. You mentioned for Western,
yes.
Bienvenu Aliganyira is doing a great job. Is now organizing the 3rd CALUFU. Kwizera John Bosco has organized 3rd event of CALUFU in Central region. West Nile, we have Isabella Drichiru as the president of CALUFU. Northern and the Teso region, we have Jules Kambale, I think they're also organizing. Yes. And Jinja, we have Janvier Bangade. So all those presidents of CALUFU. So we have presidents within we have many presidents within APFO. I'm no longer the Madam President. We have 5 other presidents within CALUFU to make sure that the association becomes strong. And you really feel the energy, the dynamism, you really see the commitment from all the presidents. Me, what I do, I just make sure I attend their meetings and oversee but I'm already impressed with what they are doing. Yeah.
Okay, what would be your wish or your call for the future of French language education in Uganda?
The future, it's for all the stakeholders. French is not, it's clear, this year's statistics show that close to 400 million speakers of French language. Yes. And these are not in France. Biggest percentage is in Africa. And Uganda, we are in Africa. And above all, we are in East Africa, whereby French is one of the official languages used in East African community. And also our neighbors here, the DRC, they constitute the biggest country with the highest number of French speakers in the whole world. So if we are to benefit from that relationship, in terms of tourism, trade with our immediate neighbors here, DRC, then the French education in Uganda has to be given a priority. So what is the call to action? I'm calling upon the stakeholders, and I'm talking about the government, the policymakers, people in parliament. At least these international languages should be given a priority. You cannot just operate within here, when we are living in a globalized world. So action to French language education is for all the stakeholders. It's about the government, it's about the teachers, it's about the different education actors, it's about also the embassies like the French embassy. It's about you, Alliance Française. We all have a lot to play to make sure that French language education, we also get to where other countries are. If we talk about our neighboring countries, the Francophone countries, I'm talking about Burundi, I'm talking about Rwanda. Okay, leave alone Rwanda. Rwanda's case a little bit, but Burundi, for instance, even DRC. English is compulsory, right from the primary. So meaning your English is compulsory in primary, in secondary, at university. They may be a Francophone country using French, but the moment they step into an Anglophone context, they want to be like someone, a Ugandan, who has never heard about bonjour. And that's the call of to action we're talking about, making sure that teachers are recruited in public schools, in government schools, so that all the learners in Uganda, we are the same level, we have access to the same opportunities, such that the Ugandans, when they leave the borders of Uganda to the international community, they should not be limited by language barriers. Yeah.
And then, thank you. In case, if I might also add something small, I think also, like Doctor has said, all stakeholders, but also the parents in particular. Some parents say, no, don't do French, where will it take you? But like Doctor has said, French opens doors. You get to interact with people globally. You don't limit yourself to where you are. So the parents also play a big role. Once the parents allow their children to do French, then it becomes easier for the children to get to these opportunities, scholarships abroad, and being able to get employment easily. Yes, so we call upon the parents out there to bring their children to Alliance Française, or also to allow them to do French in the schools where they are. Yes, in relation to that, allow me to put a disclaimer to people who think that when we are, as teachers of French, we're talking about French, that we are promoting imperialism, neocolonialism. No way. I'm looking at French in a Ugandan context. For us, we look at it as a career. Because I'm a teacher of French, I was recruited by government, a lecturer of French at Makerere University to teach the French language. So it's no longer for the French. Yeah. So the fact that the education policy, actually I want to thank the government of Uganda. The fact that according to the education policy, foreign languages are taught right from secondary school, and their teachers, they are teaching. It is already something to show that it is a career. Some of us have trained as teachers of French. I did French at Chambogo as French double main, and it is the Ugandan system. So my livelihood depends on French. I'm a teacher of French, I'm a translator, I'm a conference interpreter. So when you start saying that when I'm teaching French, I'm teaching it for the French, that's wrong. Because I depend entirely on translating, on interpreting, on teaching French. And sometimes I can even spend, if I wasn't a president of the association, I think I can even spend a year without necessarily meeting the French. But because I'm interacting with Africans who use French as a language from West Africa, from Burkina Faso, Niger, DRC. So when people are saying that when you're teaching French, you're promoting imperialism, I don't agree. It is a language of communication. I'm a researcher as an academic. Yeah, I can do research. I attend conferences in both Francophone and Anglophone countries without any challenge. And that's what I would wish any other profession in Uganda to be like. If you're a lawyer, can you be a lawyer for Francophones without necessarily going through a translator or an interpreter? If you're a medic, a doctor, can you work with Médecins Sans Frontières without necessarily going through a translator, an interpreter, you see? So that's why I had to put that disclaimer, which is very important for me and for whoever will watch us in this podcast. Thank you.
Okay. As final message you would like to share with our teachers, partners, or students, what would it be?
My final words will be, let us embrace French, and students out there should not give up. They should continue learning French. But also the head teachers who say French is maybe time consuming and they don't include it among the subjects that they teach in their schools, we request them to, like we've elaborated the different advantages. They should not deny the chance to the young people out there, because they are the future, the generation to come. So we request everyone out there to embrace French, to the learners to love it, to continue doing it, the parents to allow their children to do it. And those who do not get the chance to study it from schools, they can come at Alliance Française, do the lessons, and also get a recognized certificate internationally. Yeah, so those are my final words.
My last thoughts goes to the different stakeholders. One, that learning French or speaking French does not take away my identity. Does not mean that I forget about these other Ugandan languages, our local languages. I speak Luchiga, I speak Lufumbira, I speak Nyankore, I speak Luganda, but I also speak French and English. So, I mean, I have many more opportunities than someone who does not speak as many languages. So, to us, the association, multilingualism is key. We encourage everyone to make sure that we go for multilingualism. Learn international languages, learn local languages, learn regional languages like Swahili, why not? To the stakeholders, the Francophone community in Uganda, the Embassy of France, and all the other Francophone embassies, is to make sure that we continue collaborating in the activities like FEF. Surely, if we can have another round of FEF, that would be very great. And that's the message to the embassy and Alliance Française, with whom we have journeyed together implementing this project. There was a lot to learn from this project. To the parents, also to kind of open their eyes to get to know that the different opportunities that come with knowing many international languages. We know that everyone now wants science. Everyone wants science. But you cannot do science without language. Even when you have to express yourself in chemistry, in physics, in biology, whatever it is, you have to use the language. So the parents, they also have to think about the future of their children who are going to be doctors. It would be cool if you're a bilingual doctor or a bilingual lawyer, bilingual journalist. So that is very important, that you know as many languages as possible so that you broaden the opportunities, not necessarily being limited to, here in your locality, in your country, in Uganda. Just open opportunities for the learners. And to the head teachers, ASHU, Association of Secondary School Head Teachers in Uganda, who say, we don't see teachers. Teachers are there. We have teachers, get to us. We link you to the teachers qualified who are ready to be, if there is a slot for payroll, to make sure that the teachers are recruited in government schools. And of course, the Minister of Education, who is the employer of teachers of French, to make sure that teachers are recruited, are put on payroll. And many learners, youngsters in Uganda, get opportunities of learning these other languages and put them to use because it favors employability in the different sectors in Uganda and beyond. Thank you.
With this, our podcast comes to an end. Thank you so much and see you soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Njogera Olufalansa n'Abaganda.
Yamo, Français, Kampala.
Emeramo Français.
French language in Uganda.